Welcome everybody. I'd like to officially open the meeting at 6 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge the traditions of the Ngarluma people on whose land we are gathered here today, and also just to let everyone know, all the public that are in attendance, that this meeting will be live streamed and recorded. All right, moving along to agenda item 2 is the record of attendance. Apologies, leave of absence previously approved. So we have all councillors apart from Councillor Kelly Nunn. She had a leave of absence approved, so she is not here. Councillor Sarah Roots is online, and Councillor Jodie Swapper is online. All others are in attendance. Item 3 is public question time. Do we have any questions from the public? All right, step up to the lectern and
Okay.
fire away.
Hello, my name's Kylie. I'm from Dampier. I'll be talking about the 11.3 proposed stallholders policy. So my question is, how can the City of Karratha endorse a policy even after it's received strong community feedback that the recommended changes are not supported by the community? With the proposed changes as they stand, I will find it extremely challenging to continue to provide our services to the Dampier community.
Thank you. CEO, do you have a response for Kylie at all to that question, other than for Director of Development Services?
Through the chair, I appreciate that it does have an impact on some businesses, but the officer's recommendation is trying to find a balance between the interests of fixed and mobile traders. I don't know if there's a particular part of the policy in particular that you're concerned about that I could speak to, but appreciate that we're never going to make everybody happy with these kind of policies. There's always a balance to be struck, and we've tried to do that in as fair a manner as we can.
Thank you. Thanks for your questions. Did you have a second question? No? Okay. 4 is petitions, deputations and presentations, of which we have none. 5 is requests for leave of absence. Is anyone not going to be here next month?
Can you just confirm the date? Because I think we originally had it the 24th, but now it's definitely the 31st of March.
31st of March. Okay, 6 is declarations of interest, of which we have a few. There's a couple of new ones here. We've got Councillor Gillian Furlong as on agenda item 12.1. She is a financial conflict, as her husband is an employee of Rio Tinto, and she drives obviously income to her family from that. And then we have Councillor Alderstrom Muller on agenda item 9.5, which is the commercial property management of Porter. She's an impartiality, as her workplace has a lease at Porter HQ, which VPG currently manages, so as impartial. And then we have some from last week. As the film is the same.
That's it. This one's here.
Yeah, and then Councillor Gillam, 12.1 as well, the Wickham Oval Car Park renovations, as Councillor Gillam's partner is employed by Rio Tinto. That's an indirect financial interest. And then myself, I have a indirect financial interest in 11.2, which is the housing development expression of interest, because my business partner is actually engaged to be a part of that project. And then I've got an interest, direct financial interest in 11.3, which is the storeholders and street trading policy, and that's because I have a fixed business that obviously competes with other fixed businesses and mobile businesses. Right, if there's no other declarations of interest. Okay, 7 is the...
Yes. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councillor Roots.
I did send through the written copy, but I'll just quickly make my declaration of interest as well. So item 12.1 the Wickham Oval car park upgrade. Also indirect financial interest. Also, my partner is employed by Rio Tinto.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Roots. And we've got
There
that.
Two others, sorry.
Two others, keep going, yes.
14.1, notice of motion support for Karratha Kart Club and streamline rates. Impartiality, interest. And the extent of interest is my husband is a member of Karratha Kart Club and I also volunteer.
Okay, thank you.
And that will be exactly the same for 14.2 as well.
Yes, excellent. Thank you, Councillor Roots.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I asked the question. There are no more declarations of interest. All right, 7 is the confirmation of minutes and business arising from minutes of previous meeting. The office recommendation on page 6. That is the minutes from the last council meeting held on the 9th of December, and the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 3rd of Feb be confirmed as true and correct records of proceedings. Can I have someone move that motion? Councillor Gillum, someone to second it. Councillor Gillum, no one against the minutes as written. That motion is carried. 8 is announcements by a person presiding without discussion, and as is all the meetings that I had through December and January over the last 2 months. Right into the thick of it now. 9 is corporate and commercial reports. 9.1 is the statements for period ended 30th of November. And thank you. There you are. And 31st of December 2024, with the officer's recommendation on page 8, and that is that we receive the financial statements for that period ending the 30th of November and the 31st of December. Can I have someone move the motion?
Happy to move it, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Simpson, someone to second it. Councillor Swaffer? Yes, thank you. Is anyone against the financial statements? I think that motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
one of the members of the public did have a further question, and they were asking whether or not they could, whether we could reopen public question time. They hadn't realised that it had finished.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to move the motion, Mr. Mayor, so we can go back to open up public questions.
Go back to public. Do we need a motion for that?
I think so.
We do,
I think,
right. Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Would someone like to second that? Councillor Johansson. Right, we're moving backwards to public question time. Who was it that wanted to ask a question?
I do.
Yes.
So
State your name, please.
my name is Marcia. I live in Bulgaria.
and also your surname and your
Robbins, Marcia Robbins.
Thank you.
I would like to know why the community survey for the COVID advocacy was ignored, despite the majority of Karratha people voting for it.
Right.
Why did you override it?
Okay. Well, I mean, as that is a council resolution that occurred back in December. So council at that stage decided, to resolve on the decision not to move forward with Councillor Johansson's recommendation.
Who decided, sorry?
The council as a group. So as a group, that was decided that we wouldn't move forward. The community survey results were provided to us, and then a decision was made on the night based on that feedback and results, and council made the decision, and that's where it lies.
So what was the purpose of putting the survey out for them? Because you spent a lot of money doing that, and it would have been cheaper just to send the letters that we requested.
Yes, well, I guess the purpose was to get a sense of the wider community and how they viewed it. I don't think anyone was denying that COVID had a big impact on people, and that it had a big impact on people, and that a Royal Commission isn't warranted as such. The debate around the table and the decision was that wasn't like the government's role
The local government, you mean?
Yeah, the local government's role to pursue calling for a royal commission as only a state government or a federal government. So then, based on the information that was provided through the community survey, and then each councillor doing their own due diligence, the decision was made not to pursue it. So we went through every avenue to try to gather as much information as possible, so we could all make a informed decision.
But Marcia, just to interrupt, unfortunately, we can't get into a debate, so you're welcome to ask a couple of questions. You get a response. It gets put onto the record, but
We get one question.
well, I'm trying to remember in the standing orders, it's two
Two
questions. I think is kind of the what the local law sort of states.
Okay.
So, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
Mr. Chair, but yeah, it's one of these things where it's not open ended, where you can kind of go back and forth.
Okay then.
Yeah.
But as I suggested to a lot of people at the time, we have a local member, we have a federal member that you can all raise these issues with as well. But thank you, Marcia, for the question.
I'll make a statement on record. We are not happy at all.
Okay. Thank you. Right, moving on. Straight up to 9.2, the list of accounts for the 1st of November 2024 to the 31st of December 2024. With the officer's recommendation on page 16, and that is the council received the list of payments totaling 22 million as detailed through 1 through to 7. Someone move this motion? Councillor Gillam, someone to second the motion? Councillor Earl, sorry. Is anyone against the motion?
I have a couple of questions.
Fire away.
Okay. These questions will go out to the Director for Development, no, not Director for Development Service, Director for Corporate Services. It is payment number 13679, which is page 34 of 76 in the attachments. And it is payment number 086340, which was a refund to Councillor Swaffer for her election nomination fee. And I'm happy to stand corrected on this one if I'm wrong. I thought that we were refunded election nomination fees if we were not elected. Am I wrong there?
The manager governs response.
Sorry, if you're successful and you receive a certain percentage of the vote, you get your
feedback. Okay, thank you very much for that answer. And then my second question is payment number 10417, which is on page 50 of 76, which was for the previous mayor, Mr. Peter Long. There's 3 payments there. I just had a question. They seem very old, and I question that they're outside of the councillor reimbursement policy.
I can respond to that.
Yes, if you
through the
could.
Chair. I was aware that there was actually, we became aware that there was some outstanding payments for the previous mayor. It actually aligned to a period of time where he was unwell and had he was unable to submit his claims because he was in hospital. And then I subsequently found out that it had been provided to the administrative team, but they didn't process it in a timely manner. So I have approved that to be processed as an outstanding payment. It should have been processed earlier, and I believe that a large part of that was actually administration not processing it quickly enough.
Thank you for the extra context. That's much appreciated.
No worries.
Okay. Councillor Phil, would you like to speak to it at all? Right. Just Councillor Gillam. Right. No worries. No one's against that. That motion is carried. Okay. 9.3 is the investments for the period ended 31st of December 2024, with the officer's recommendation on page 19. The council received the investment report for the financial period ending December 2024. Someone move this motion?
I'm happy to move it.
Councillor Simpson, someone will second the motion. Councillor Furlong, is anyone against the motion? Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak for the motion?
That's so, Mr Mayor, is tracking on well. We'll be interested to see how we go now with interest rate reduction. So our investments, but we'll keep an eye at the moment. Our director's doing a great job routine. So keep up the good work.
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Our bank balance is going up as interest is going up, but there's always winners and losers at interest rate rises and interest rate cuts. Councillor Bellon, would you like to speak for it? Right, that motion has carried. Okay, 9.4 is the amended differential rates and application for ministerial approval with the officer's recommendation on page 27. And that is that to note that the differential rate model for 2023-24 has been quashed because of an unintended consequence of council having dropped the rate increase residential rate base from 5% to 3.5% after the minister had already approved our differential rates. So we're going to seek ministerial approval for the transient workforce accommodation differential rate to be greater than 2 times the lowest rate in the dollar. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, someone to second the motion?
Happy to, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Swaffer. Anyone against the motion? No? Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak for the motion?
It's all pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, it is. We tried to drop the rates and they said you can't do that. Councillor Swaffer, would you like to speak for the motion?
No, that's okay, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, well, that motion is carried. 9.5 is the commercial property management services at the Quarter HQ tender outcome with the officer's recommendation on page 33. And that is that council accept the tender submitted by VPG Property as the most advantageous tender to formal contracts, and 2, authorise the CEO to execute a contract with the VPG Property. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, someone to second the motion. Councillor Furlong, anyone against the motion? Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak to the motion?
All good, thank you.
No, Councillor Furlong, you're okay?
Yes.
Right, that motion is carried. 9.6 is the alternate date for the King's birthday, public holiday, with the officer's recommendation on page 38. And that is a council seek approval for the following dates as the King's birthday public holiday for the whole of the City of Karratha District on A, Monday the 4th of August, B, Monday the 3rd of August, and C, Monday the 2nd of August. And that is keeping in line with what we currently have for that long weekend. Can I have someone move that motion? Councillor Johansson, someone to second it. Councillor Gillum, anyone against the motion? Councillor Johansson, would you like to speak to the motion?
I would, thanks.
Go ahead.
I support this motion, noting that 312 out of 391 survey respondents favour keeping the public holiday in August. However, it's important to remember, like another recent survey, the silent majority who did not participate. But democracy works by listening to those who engage, and I believe doing the right thing means respecting their voices. Hence why I support this.
Thank you, Councillor Johansson. Councillor Gillum, would you like to speak for the motion?
Only to add to Councillor Johansson that I see it as a really positive thing to secure Pinnacle Monday for the next 3 years. And also, whilst it is important to go out to the community every 3 years, I think it's fantastic to see that we will continue to honour the long-held tradition.
Thank you. Anyone else got to speak for the motion? No, that motion has carried. All right, 10. 10.1 is the bushfire risk management plan with the officer's recommendation on page 42, and there's a council adopt the City of Karratha bushfire risk management plan 2025 to 2030 as contained in the attachment to this report. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Walsh-Muller, someone to second the motion? Councillor Furlong, is anyone against this motion? Councillor Walsh-Muller, would you like to speak for the motion?
Yes, yeah, I'll just say congratulations to the city for putting the list together. It's quite a large document and it involves a lot of moving parts. So
A lot of stakeholders.
policy, a lot of So only thing I did note was that on the bushfire management like system 3-year period treatment plan, I think it was just a comment. I think they've actually listed people's names as that person actioning those items under DFIS or the city of Karratha. I thought maybe change it to the person's title, not an actual individual's name, in case they leave within that 3-year period. That was the main thing I just picked up on.
So that's actually good points.
Yeah, through the chair, we actually agree with that, but it'll be a minor amendment and probably something that we'll have to review and change over time.
Otherwise it's very good that we're protecting our community and all our property around the city of Karratha. So
Bushfires start pretty quickly sometimes. And mitigating makes sense, doesn't it? Councillor Perry, would you like to speak for the motion?
No, it's sort of explanatory. I think it's needed.
All right, well, if that's the case. That motion has carried. Moving on to 11. 11.1 is the major event sponsorship and attraction program for the proposed major sponsorship for the Chevron City to Surf Active 2025 with the officer's recommendation on page 46. And that is that council approved the sponsorship funding to Active Foundation as follows: $25,000 per year for the next 3 years, and approved by absolute majority an increased budget allocation of $25,000 from the Economic Development Reserve to cover the shortfall in this current financial MISA budget. Someone like to move this motion? Councillor Simpson. Someone second it? Councillor Walsh-Muller. Anyone against this sponsorship? No. Councillor Walsh-Muller, would you like to speak to it?
Can. The city surf's always been very successful, brings a lot of people to town, and it's a good community. We're supporting a good cause, so it's good to see every year it's growing bigger and bigger. So it's good for our community. And we're only one besides Perth to do it, so that's it's a good.
Yeah, Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, the City of Karratha, well done, team, because we've captured 3 years of the only city to surf outside the metropolitan area. So that's great for us. Well done.
Yeah, we're one of the few regional areas that the numbers are growing each year when they host this. It's a good outcome. I expect each and every one of you to start training for it. You can walk that event too. Yeah. All right. 11.2 is the housing development expression of interest, of which I have a conflict. So I'll hand the chair all over to Councillor Gillum, Deputy Mayor, and I'll be out of the room for the next two. Yeah.
Alex, could you close the door for me, please?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Item number 11.2, the Housing Development Expression of Interest Business Plan for the Bainton Development, with the officer's recommendation on page 52. That council approve the draft business plan to acquire the proposed development at lot 481 Bajamalu Drive, Bainton, for the purpose of housing as provided as an attachment to this report. And 2, agree to advertise the business plan calling for public submissions in accordance with section 3.59 of the local government. Would anyone like to move this motion?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Councillor. We have Councillor Roots, and I will take Councillor Furlong first.
Sure.
As the mover, and I'll take Councillor Roots as the seconder.
Thank you.
Councillor Furlong, would you like to speak to this motion?
I just think it's an exciting proposal. We're along our journey of Project Dorothy. So let's hope that with public submission, the public are behind us taking the next step to ease our housing crisis.
I agree, it's an exciting step. Councillor Roots, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yeah, I will take up a little bit of time just to acknowledge how much work has gone into this in the background over many, many months from so many long-standing employees and also recently employed people in the administration, and just a big thank you to them for all their efforts. It's great to see it progressing.
Thank you, Councillor Roots, that's very true. Is there anyone against this motion? Councillor Johansson, would you like to speak against the motion?
Would
Please go ahead.
do not support this motion as I haven't spoken to a single ratepayer who supports it. The feedback I received is people want councils to get back to basics, roads, rates and rubbish.
Anything further, Councillor Johansson? That's it? Okay, thank you. Is anyone else for or against the motion? Okay, then we'll do a show of hands on this one. If everyone who's for the motion, could you please show us your hands? Okay, we'll start with online. We have Councillor Swaffer and Councillor Roots for. We have Councillor Furlong, Councillor Simpson and Councillor Waterstrom for. And against, we have Councillor Johansson. And myself for the motion. Okay, and with that, that motion has now passed. On to motion 11.3, which is the adoption of the amended council policy, stallholders and street trading DR05, with the officer's recommendation down there on page 59 that the council adopt the amended policy DR05, stallholders and street trading included at attachment 6. Would anyone, we also have an amendment to this motion from Councillor Johansson. What we'll do is move this substantive motion to get it on the table first, and then we'll move to the amendment. Would anyone like to move the substantive motion? Councillor Simpson, thank you. It's going to keep a track here. Would anyone like to second that motion? We need to have a second to pop on. Thank you, Councillor Waterstrom-Roller. Now that the motion is on the table, we will move to the amended motion that has been submitted by Councillor Johansson. He has written in his amendment that Councillor 1 amend the, my apologies, yes, right, that Councillor 1 amend the stallholder and street trader policy to permit the burger bus to continue trading at Lions Park under the following conditions. A, 3 lunch trading days per week with flexibility for the operator to determine the specific days based on community demand and coordination with other businesses. B, optional dinner trading on Saturday or Sunday night, subject to demand and community engagement, recognising the limited food options available in the area. And 2, request a review within 6 months to assess the impact of policy amendments, incorporating feedback from fixed businesses and the trader to inform any further policy adjustments. Councillor Johansson, I'll note you as the mover for this amendment. Would anybody like to second this amendment? We don't have a seconder, then the amended motion will lapse and we return to the substantive. Just confirming we do not have a seconder for this amended motion. Okay. Right, with that then we return to the amended motion was not on the table and we return to the substantive.
There was another amendment that was sent through as well. Oh, yes. That's fine. I think this is the same order space. Oh, okay. I'll leave that with you.
Okay. What one of the councillors, apologies, Councillor Swaffer has suggested that it would be good to suspend standing orders. So if on this item, if everybody thinks that would be a good idea, then could I have a mover to suspend standing orders on item 11.3 and we'll be able to have an open, robust discussion then. Councillor Furlong, thank you. Just make a note. I'm going to lose track of the movers and the seconders. And a seconder, please. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Rees.
Through the chair, I understand Councillor Swaffer has an amendment that was submitted quite late. So I think the suggestion for suspending standing orders, just so everyone understands, is so that she can explain what her late amendment is, as others haven't seen it yet.
With that, standing orders are suspended, so may begin discussion.
Are you happy for me to start?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Deputy Mayor, yep. Firstly, apologies for the late notice. I've been reading this over and over and it sort of just dawned on me today that I'd like to propose a different resolution and I'll talk through what that is and then the reasons why. So I'd like to still adopt the policy as it stands, but with the removal of condition 1 on the Church Road pullover car park, which is page 7 of the policy. I believe these restrictions may have been introduced based on the current vendors operating in this location rather than from a broader view. So if we're looking at this issue from a wider perspective, we would like this to see similar restrictions in Wickham and Point Sampson, where there's also bricks and mortar vendors. So in fact, the fact there's fewer fixed vendors in those areas, I would argue that the restrictions should be more stringent there. However, it seems the focus has been on Dampier, because that's where the current people have been raising concerns. So that's where I'd like to remove that condition on only being able to trade at Church Road pullover for 3 days a week and allow that to be the same as every other town, including Karratha, Wickham, Point Sampson and Roebourne.
I looked for it. It looks like it's in the picture at the bottom.
Yeah, so no other site currently has the restrictions, and I understand Lions Park in the sense that it doesn't come into town. So I get why the restrictions there is for 1 day per week. However, I don't understand why we're putting restrictions to only be able to trade 4 days a week in Dampier and no other restrictions on those in any other town that's within the city of Karratha.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions around that?
The 7 days a week, I think, is a reasonable request to remove. There is no right answer for this, and I like to thank your team, Lee. You have worked really hard to get this policy up. There is not going to be any winners, and it is emotional debate because it's people's livelihoods, and there's never going to be, as you said numerous times. People in the community, yes, want free trading. Is that the right answer? I don't know. I just think I have to listen personally for my community, and they do want more access to mobile traders. But we have to have a policy. So I guess everyone needs to make the decision which side of the table to sit on.
Councillor Bell. Is anybody else while we're outside standing order to look?
Good. Thanks, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to ask the Director, so Councillor Swafford just raised the fact that the Church Avenue has different restrictions to the rest. And this is, we're trying to, what we call, even it up. Is there a reason why we did that?
Through the chair, there are a number of fixed premises traders in Dampier that expressed concern to the amount of mobile trading that was allowed to occur under the previous policy.
Okay.
We conducted, obviously we did the initial survey before we redrafted the policy for consideration, but we also did in-person and workshops across the local government area. In Wickham, we had a number of fixed traders represented at the workshop, and they all indicated that they were comfortable with the trading from the food vans in town, that they thought it added a nice level of variety, and they didn't raise any particular concerns about the impact on their business, unlike the fixed traders in town.
Thank you.
Okay. Is everyone comfortable that we've discussed this one? Right, then I'll propose that we go back into standing orders. Can I have a mover for that, please? Councillor Waterman, seconded Councillor Furlong. Okay, back to the substantive motion. Okay. Councillor Swafford, would you like to move an amendment at this point?
Yes, please.
Okay. To clarify that your amendment would be to accept the officer's recommendation as written with the
a change
removal of the church pullover car park conditions, number 1 and number 2. Number 1 being that only 3 bookings per week allowed per trader, and number 2, each time slot counts as a booking. Would you like both of those removed or just one?
Just condition 1.
Just condition 1.
To be consistent with all other locations.
Okay, it's up there on the screen now. If anyone would like to sense check that, please. So Councillor Swaffer's amendment would read that the council adopt the amended policy DRO5 stallholders and street trading included at attachment 6 with the removal of condition 1 on the Church Road pullover car park, page 7 of the attached policy. Is that your intention, Councillor Swaffer?
So could I suggest? So through the chair, the director has some advice on the crafting of the amendment. So perhaps I could ask for their opinion.
Sorry, through the chair, Councillor Swaffer, I've just gone and had a look at the other trading locations that are attached in a draft policy. And those sites that don't have conditions attached don't have part 2 of a condition either. So my recommendation would be, if you're comfortable removing condition 1, just remove all of the conditions and we can update that.
Sure. If that makes it consistent, that would be great.
It would do, that's correct.
All right, so we'll try again. We'll move to Councillor Swaffer's amended motion that council adopt the amended policy DRO5, stallholders and street trading, included in attachment 6 with the removal of condition 1 and condition 2 on the Church Road pullover car park. Now what we'll do is ask for a mover and a seconder so that we can put that one on the table. Councillor Swaffer, will I count you as the mover?
Yes, please.
Write that down too. I've got lots of seconds going on over here. Okay, and can I have a seconder for that motion if someone would like to? Councillor Simpson, thank you. Councillor Swaffer, would you like to speak to your amended motion or your amendment?
It'd be just for the reasoning, I suppose, which I said before, is to, I believe that the current restrictions have been created based on the current vendors operating in this location at Dampier, rather than from a broader consistent view across the city of Karratha. And I'd like to see that the same restrictions apply across all locations.
And Councillor Simpson, would you like to add into that as a seconder?
No, I think it's pretty much summed it up. Yep.
Is anyone against this amendment?
Not the amendments, but I'm against the policy. So
Okay.
am I jumping the gun?
Yes. So what we'll do is we'll debate the amendments.
Yeah.
And then that becomes part of the, that's
Yes.
approved would become part of the, that becomes part of the amended motion and we go back to the substantive. Okay. If no one is against the amendment, then the amendment has now passed and we go back to the, what is now the amended substantive motion. We were back in standing orders. Yeah, we went back in standing orders before we went to the amendment.
I asked the same question, Councillor Simpson.
Keep me on track. I've got my train tracks here.
You're doing really well.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we have an amended substantive motion. I'll just read it out to be clear again. Yes, I've got, yes, that's right. So the amended substantive is that council adopt the amended policy DR05 stallholders and street trading included in attachment 6 with the removal of condition 1 and condition 2 on the Church Road pullover car park. Now we'll return to the original mover and seconder, for which the original mover is Councillor Simpson and the original seconder is Councillor Furlong. Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak to the amended motion?
I will. I wanted to start off by thanking the officers, director.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Waterstone, apologies.
Yes, I thought.
Yeah.
Just shaking your head, you got, okay, sorry, carry on.
You got it?
You're first.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the director and the staff put this together. I think it's always hard to try and get a balance between the two. This is how we started this road. We've been on a couple of courts over the last sort of 5 years trying to get a balance right. And it's just trying to get, our ultimate goal is to get more bricks and mortar in town, but at the same time give the variation and the opportunity for food vans in the community as a whole. Trying to balance both aspirations of both businesses is always a hard balance, and I think the report did a really good job of trying to balance that. I think with Councillor Swaffer's amendment, so you hope the one in Dampier to become a bit more equal with the rest, but hopefully we've done it's got that balance right, and we've got the middle ground where we can all move on.
Thank you, Councillor Simpson. Councillor Waterstone, my apologies for ignoring you as a seconder. And would you like to speak to this motion?
Just agree.
Simpson said, I suppose, and also it's, about, safety of using mobile traders as well. So we want the community to be safe. I know everyone's for eating as much stuff, yummy stuff as everyone can get, but end of the day, we need to think about how we're going to manage it as the city. So it's a lot to take in, and it's never going to be the perfect policy, but I think, we are listening to fixed traders and, fixed businesses and mobile traders. I think we've come to a reasonable agreement with this policy.
Thank you, Councillor Waters-Smart. Is anybody against the amended motion? Councillor Fallon, would you like to speak against the amended motion?
I would. It's a very difficult situation, and we have debated this around this table numerous times. In the end of the day, it's one business against the other, or 10 businesses against 10 businesses. There is no right solution. But for me, as a councillor who lives in Dampier, I have to listen to my community, and my community don't want it. So I have to stay on that side of the table for this one. So I do not agree with this policy as it stands.
Thank you, Councillor Fallon. Is anybody else against this motion?
I'm confused.
Okay.
Sorry, Deputy Mayor. So, Councillor Furlong, are you against the one? Are we doing? Which one are we on?
Your amendment, Councillor Swaffer, was accepted, and that is now formed, and part of the substantive has now become an amended substantive motion, and that's what we're currently debating. So we have removed restriction number 1 and number 2 from the Church Road car park.
Okay.
And it is against the amended for which Councillor Furlong has spoken.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay. Keep it straight. Okay, so what I'd like to do is do a show of hands for this one as well, just so that we're clear, as we have both for and against. And for those that are for the motion, could I please have a show of hands? Okay. Councillor Waters-Strumala, Councillor Simpson, Councillor Roots, Councillor Swaffer, Councillor Johansson, and myself, Councillor Gillam. And then against the motion, we have Councillor Furlong. Thank you. And with that, the amended motion has now passed. We will retrieve the mayor. May have gone to sleep out there.
Yes, we've won now.
We're up to 12.1, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
No, right.
What were the outcomes?
They both passed. We had an amended resolution for the stallholders trading policy,
yes.
And the amended resolution was to pass the motion with the amendment led by Councillor Swaffer that we would delete restriction number 1 and 2 from the Church Road car park trading conditions, and so that was the amended motion that passed.
Okay.
Stayed on the train tracks, back to base.
Thank you. All went swimmingly then. Okay, so we're up to 12.1. Yes. The Wickham Oval car park renovations and lighting upgrade, of which, remind me, do we have capability to step out of the room for this one? Councillor Furlong, Councillor Gillam, and Councillor Roots. 5. How many people we got?
We're going to have to vote.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we've got a call.
4.
New side is 5.
5. That's what. Yeah, including Okay. All right, let's rise then.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the experienced people here. Yeah. Okay. The officer's recommendation is on page 68, and that is that council agree to invite tenders for the Wickham Oval car park renovations and approve by absolute majority the allocation of $185,000.
Sorry, we just need to confirm that Councillor Roots has dialed out. Seems to be on hold.
What we can do, let me.
Text group, so.
Yeah. I'll say to her, can you log off?
Log off.
There you go. Not just Alan. Yep.
Is that-
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah, great.
All right, so yes, as I said, officer's recommendation, page 68. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, someone to second it. Councillor Walsh from Muller. Anyone against the motion? No. Councillor Simpson, would you like to talk for it?
Absence of councillor, none.
Yes.
Who would like to be like that one particularly? Councillor's been a big supporter of that Eastern corridor. I think this one's been on the table for a while. It's great to see now we're moving forward and helping out with some more community facilities for we go.
Yes, indeed. Councillor Walsh from Muller, same time.
Yes, pretty much just, yeah, it's great. We're using the reserves to make a start on it, go to tenders. I think it's important that we make sure the outlying areas of our city of Karratha are having the same quality stuff we are having in Karratha. So I think it's pretty important, and it's been a long time coming before we can. So
We do more if we have to get the Queen to sign off it, or King, sorry, these days on every decision we make out there. It's another matter we'll work with in the future. All right, if that is all, then that motion is carried. That's it, isn't it? Okay, if we could get
Yeah, that was working. Yeah, we're back into Karratha Airport now. So
actually Councillor Roots back online.
Yeah.
And yes, bring in Councillor Furlong. Furlong?
we got one seat. What's the outcome of that?
Right, that motion was carried as on the agenda.
That's what it's.
Councillor Roots, just so you know, that motion was carried. The car park renovations. Okay, 12.2, the Karratha Airport check baggage screening equipment replacement. This is the tender outcome with the officer's recommendation on page 73. That is that we accept the tender submitted by RepiScan Systems as the most advantageous tender and authorise the CEO to execute a contract with RepiScan and authorised by an absolute majority that there's an increase in the allocation of $1.02 million to be funded from the airport reserve to purchase the equipment and complete all the works modifications. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, someone to second the motion. Councillor Gillam. Anyone against this motion? Councillor Simpson, would you like to speak for security screening?
I never did knowledge of security airport security screening. I think he anticipated that in my looking at what CASA puts the pressure on us to a lot of regulations and change and upgrading things in line. So it's an investment that will last a long time and bring us into line. Hopefully our ultimate goal is to get to that international or even better interstate somewhere else to not Perth would be great. But
yeah, our ultimate goal is to get the security at the people one, where you have to take out your laptops and stuff. That might happen when we get bigger. All right, Councillor Gillam.
Other than to concur with Councillor Simpson that this is a necessary investment, and I also look forward to taking the steps forward that we need to have extra destinations through the Karratha Airport. This is hopefully a small step.
All right, if there's no one else wants to speak for the motion, that motion is carried. All right, 12.3 is the supply and laying of asphalt and profiling services. This is the tender outcome as well, with the officer's recommendation on page 79, and that is that we accept the tender submitted by Core Pavement Services as the most advantageous tender and authorise the CEO to execute a contract with the Core Pavement Services company. Would someone like to move this motion?
just put a hand up.
Yeah, Councillor Roots. Someone like to second the motion? Councillor Furlong. Anyone against the motion? Councillor Roots, would you like to speak for the motion?
Just briefly, that I have utmost faith in the robust processes that admin have gone through to come to this conclusion, and yeah, look forward to it moving forward swiftly.
Furlong, nothing to add?
No.
Okay, that motion is carried. 10.4 is the fencing services tender outcome with the officer's recommendation on page 83. That is that we accept the tender submitted by prompt contracting as the most advantageous tender and authorise the CEO to execute a contract with prompt contracting and fencing. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Walsh-Muller, someone to second the motion? Councillor Furlong, is anyone against the motion? Councillor Walsh-Muller, would you like to talk to fencing at all?
Just it's great to see another local contractor being awarded a tender.
Yes, true. They're all local contractors, which is good. Okay, if there's no further commentary, that motion has carried. Moving on to 13, which is the Chief Executive Officer reports. 13.1 is items for information only. Hold on this one, nothing else is there.
Yeah, I think there is
13.1. Oh, 13.2, right. Okay. So can I have someone move the items for information only? Councillor Simpson, second it. Councillor Gillam, and against the information provided? Do I speak for it?
I think it's pretty much self-explanatory.
Yeah, that motion is passed. All right, 13.2 is the CEO KPIs for 2024-25, a status report with the officer's recommendation on page 121, and it is that we council will receive the status report for the Chief Executive Officer's key performance indicators. Can I have someone move this motion? Councillor Simpson, someone to second it. Councillor Furlong, is anyone against the CEO's status report? You sure? Now's the time. Would you like to speak for it? Councillor Simpson.
I think one of the key issues for us as councillors is to make sure we've got our KPIs right in this reporting process. Make sure we do that. It's a good report back. We've come a long way, and I think it's good to see our results now coming through to our community surveys and so forth, which is good, and also more importantly our internal one as well. So doing great work. So give up the work, Councillor Furlong.
Yeah, just transparency is what we aim for. That's good.
Yeah. Well, on behalf of the council, I'd like to thank the CEO for the status report. I'm pretty excited with the rest of it, and I'd like to thank all the executives as well, because I'm very excited for our community infrastructure plan, a 10-year community infrastructure plan, which is going to give us a pipeline of projects for the community, and also the place-based approach to each town. So each town within our local government area gets a place-based approach where people in Point Sampson, Roeburn, Wickham, Dampier can all have an outline, have input into how their towns look and feel in the future. So that's going to have a much more impactful impact on those communities because they'll have a voice towards it. So there's no other commentary on that, but motion has carried. Right, 14 is motions of which previous notice has been given. 14.1, we do have a notice of motion. Councillor Johansson.
We have to. Councillor Johansson.
Oh, yes, okay. Okay, all right, yeah, I'll get you. That's very interesting. Okay, we have got this declared interest on this one. Councillor Roots.
Yeah, Councillor Roots, I think, declared a interest.
What was? Is that partial, Councillor Roots?
It is, yes, that's correct.
All right, so 14.1 is the notice of motion to support for Karratha Car Club and streamlined rates exemption process, as discussed last week and brought forward by Councillor Johansson. And yes.
Could we get just clarification? Is Councillor Johansson wanting to move both of these motions?
No, I think it was resolved that it was just the updated new one.
Because you can choose which one goes on the table, right?
Because we sort of talked through the process, so you can't do the multiple rate exemptions.
That's what I was thinking. So you're asking to withdraw 14.1 then?
You'd like to withdraw the 14.1 on the as on the agenda.
Yeah.
withdraw that notice.
Because the amount changed as well.
Yeah. All right, so we'll withdraw that motion. Okay, and we'll move on to 14.2.
So we've only got 14.1 in front of us.
Yeah, but that's
correct. Is that the correct one?
That's the correct one. Yeah. It's
Just for clarification, so we know we're voting on things.
Yeah, so councillors, if you've got it on the table in front of you, it's the smaller, shorter, I shouldn't say smaller, shorter resolution.
Right, so that's the correct one, but on the official agenda, it's 14.2.
That's correct.
Yeah. Right, clear with that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 14.2, notice of motion is the support for Karratha Kart Club, brought forward by Councillor Johansson. And the council's recommendation, which is on page 127, is the council resolved to waive the debt for the Karratha Kart Club up to a value of $1,902.23 for the 23 to 24 rates period, and the penalty interest occurred up until the 17th of February of this year. And this is to support the club's ongoing operations with the reasons noted and the administrative comments there. Can I have someone move this motion?
I'm happy to move it, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Johansson got in first. Someone to second the motion? Councillor Swaffer. Seconded, Councillor, yes.
Just to give some advice, I'm a bit concerned that it's penalty interest incurred up to the 17th of February when today's date is the 24th of February. So it could actually be a gap because I think interest is actually calculated. We might have a gap between the 17th and the 24th. So could I suggest, Councillor Johansson, that you say any penalty interest incurred up to today's date, and then I think we'll then have a resolution and the interest all marrying up on the same day.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor Johansson, would you like to make an amendment?
I think if he's comfortable with that change, then I think you can take that as a given, as long as everyone's clear as to what the motion is in front of you.
Yes.
That's
All right, so everyone's clear. The motion is that it's incurred up to the 24th of February 2025. Still happy, Councillor Johansson? Councillor Swaffer, happy with that?
Yes.
Thanks.
That's okay.
Okay. Is anyone against the motion? Right. Councillor Johansson, would you like to speak for the motion?
Yeah, we sort of discussed last Monday the processes we go through, I guess, when these clubs approach the admin sort of level. It'll be great to sort of do a bit more work with admin level, where if something doesn't feel right, use a bit of discretion, use a bit of, humanity. I guess it's sort of been stripped from the systems. We follow such a strict guideline now and remove all sort of, thought from the processes we deal with, where it's a community group, it's not for profit. To me, it would have just made sense to pass this one up the chain and deal with it at the time and not let it sort of become the situation that it has been.
Councillor Johansson, Councillor Swaffer, you anything to say for the motion?
No, I just concur with Councillor Johansson that this potentially could have been resolved at administration level and shouldn't probably have to come around our table, but it was great to be able to ask a few questions at the public briefing to be able to come to that conclusion. And just that, when you are running a non-for-profit volunteer-led organisation, I have empathy with missing some of those rate notices that may have come through, and I'm happy with a positive outcome.
Yeah, thank you. And for all those listening, the swath of general public in the room, and for those that tuned in online, we might as well put on the record that, as councillors and officers, that there's clubs out there that are having issues or, need things resolved, that, we're all humans and we're all approachable, and you just come and talk to us, and, we should be able to, together as a group with the councillors, the mayor, deputy mayor, or executive staff, we should be able to resolve many an issue if those in the community would like to approach us. All right, if there's no one else to speak for that motion, the motion is carried. All right, 15. These questions by members of which due notice has been given, of which there is none. 16 is urgent business approved by the person presiding, which is me. And there's a 16.1 is organisational risk committee minutes for February 2025 with the officer's recommendation on page 129. And that is that the council received the minutes for the organisational risk committee held on the 17th of Feb and adopt the 2024 compliance audit return for submission to the Department of Local Government, Sport and Cultural Industries by the 31st of March. And we accept the following meeting dates for that committee, which is the Monday the 25th, 1st of July and Monday the 17th of November at 3 p.m. And we authorise the presiding officer or CEO to initiate any additional meetings of the audit organisational risk committee if required. And that's all due to the fact that we also rely on the state government's Auditor General to do things on time. Right, someone like to move this motion? Councillor Simpson?
Yep.
Someone like to second the motion? Councillor Swaffer? Who's not to speak for the motion, Councillor Simpson?
I think it's self-explanatory. We've got there.
Yes. All right, Councillor Swaffer, nothing more to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There's no further discussion. That has been passed. All right, 17. If that is behind closed door, of which we have a couple of items behind closed doors. So we'll have to ask the general public to leave. Thank you for your attendance. Simpson. Second, councillor Furlong. Okay. All right, 18 is the closure and date of next meeting. So I declare the meeting is closed at 7:08 p.m. and the next meeting is to be held on the 31st of March, 6 p.m. Here in council chambers. All right, thank you, everyone.